Site links is a relatively new development with Google. So you might have done queries recently where you get whoever's holding that top spot, they've got 4 or 5 different links that go to different sections of their site. It's usually centered around brand. So if you if you look up Apple, you probably get Apple.com, and the first thing that you'll see in Google is a site links listing. So it's not only will it be Apple, but it'll be the various subsections that they pull out. So this section of Google Webmaster Tools will tell you if you have any site links, if they've generated them for you, and if so, what it looks like. And that can be helpful because this is all a dynamic process that Google does independently. You can't control it, but one thing you can do is look to say, what have they indexed for me in terms of my site links? And if there's a link on there that you don't particularly think should be there, you can block that link from appearing in site links. Did you have?
Mind if I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So does all of this have to do with using sitemaps? If you don't use sitemaps, are you unable to access all of this data, or do you have to use the sitemap in order to access them?
Right, so that's a good question. His question was, do you have to be a part of Google Sitemaps? Do you have to submit an XML sitemap to use Google Webmaster Tools? And the answer is no. Google Sitemap is a function of the Webmaster Tools, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But if you don't have an XML sitemap and you don't want to make one for your site, you can still take advantage of all these tools. We'll actually talk about sitemaps right now. So what the sitemaps allow you to do is directly submit your pages to Google to make sure that Google understands that where your pages are. And then also there's some signals in that specification that allow you to prioritize in terms of importance. So you can rate each page, I think it's a 1 through 10 or a 1 through 9, whatever it is, and you can tell Google, this is how important this particular page is to me, relatively speaking. The thing that people get confused with sometimes is that if I've got an XML sitemap, do I still need an HTML sitemap? Right? And so the answer there is yes. And the reason that it's yes is twofold. Is because one, users tend to use sitemaps for navigation. So from a user-centric point of view, which is always what we want to keep in the forefront of our minds as SEOs, because it's really easy to get away from that thinking if you let yourself, you always want to cater to the user. So having an HTML sitemap is good for navigation. From a technical standpoint, if your sitemap is one click away from your home page and it contains your most important pages, it serves to normalize page rank through those most important pages. And what I mean by that is it gives you, those important pages that are on your sitemap an opportunity to get page rank one click from your home page, rather than waiting for, if you have a particular product page that's very important, the engine's going to take 2 or 3 hops to get to it. So if your page rank is a 5 on your home page, your product page is probably only going to be a 3 if you're lucky at that point. And again, those aren't hard, fast rules. Those are just based on general observations. But the hard, fast rule based on the mathematics of what page rank is and the formula, and we're not going to get too much into that today because you guys will all be asleep in about 5 minutes. So just understand that having the HTML sitemap close to your front page, it should be clicked, it should be able to be accessed from the home page, because again, that helps with navigation for people that don't want to deal with your search function. They just want to go to the sitemap, find what they're looking for, and go. But it does serve to a very important function in terms of spreading your page rank out to your most important pages. And then the Robots.txt is a file that you should all have. If you don't, you should make one and just use this syntax, the first one, not the second one. Do not use the second one. I had a client once that came to me and said, I've got 80,000 pages of content. Google doesn't like it. It's nowhere in Google at all. So we took away that backslash there in the file, and now all 80,000 pages are in Google's index. Unfortunately, that's a very expensive question. So I'm giving you the answer right now. Look at your robots.txt, and most of you will probably find that you've got the user agent and the disallow is blank. Some of you might find that after the disallow, you've got particular file names or particular folders that you're actually blocking from the spiders. That's fine. If you've got the second one, again, you've blocked your entire site. You can pay me to tell you to remove the dash if you'd like, but you could just do it yourself if you want to. So the other thing that we're going to talk about is canonicalization, which is a really cool word that I didn't know until I got into SEO. And you probably don't either, so I went to Wikipedia for you and I got you the definition. Canonicalization is a process of converting data that has more than one possible representation into a standard representation. So, for example, domain.com, whatever your domain is, www.domain.com. Same page, got the same stuff. Unfortunately, to search engines, different page. Okay? Anything that is not an exact URL of the one in question, you can change one character. It can even be a capital letter. And now you're talking about a completely separate URL as far as what the search engines see. So if you have capital letters in your URL strings, I advise you to get rid of them. Or to put an intelligent redirect strategy in place that says, if this is capital, convert it to lowercase and then 301 over to the page. And the reason for that is because just the same as you can find with domain and www.domain, that causes duplicate content issues. Because all the pages that are linking over to the one are not being counted with the pages that are all linking over to the other. So you've essentially split your page rank among these two entities at that point, and you're not maximizing your potential of what you could be doing. And one of these pages is going to get relegated to what's called supplemental results at that point, and it's not going to be found for competitive searches. So the trick with this is the 301 redirect, because that consolidates pages. Now, in Google Webmaster Tools, there is an area where you can set your preferred domain, if you want a domain.com or www.domain.com. So once you do that, then that takes care of the problem in Google for that 301 redirect. You don't necessarily need that anymore. But the unfortunate news there is that the other search engines, MSN and Yahoo, are not nearly as smart as Google when it comes to this kind of stuff. And so therefore, we recommend that that you still implement a 301 whenever possible to consolidate those two. And that should be really a strategy for all duplicate content. Every piece of content that you have should exist only on one specific URL. And every time I try to access it, I should always be forwarded back to that one specific URL. That should be the general rule of how you construct the site. If you don't, you're going to find that, again, you're breaking up your page rank, you're breaking up your link metrics, and you're not really optimized as much as you could be in terms of making the most of your inherent values. So that's Google Webmaster Tools.